the Young and the Restless Spoilers. Lost and Found in Paris, a test of trust and loyalty. Kyle Abbott, Claire, and young Harrison had settled into their new home in Paris, hoping to build a fresh start away from the turmoil of Genoa City. The city, with its picturesque charm and vibrant culture, seemed like the perfect place for a new beginning. But Paris held its own set of challenges, and an unforeseen event would soon test the fragile bonds between them. One sunny afternoon, Claire decided to take Harrison to the park to help him acclimate to their new surroundings. She believed that some playtime and fresh air would lift his spirits and help him adjust. However, in the bustling environment, Claire momentarily lost sight of Harrison. Panic set in as she frantically searched for him, her heart racing with fear. Hours passed with no sign of the boy, and Claire's anxiety grew unbearable. Finally, she had no choice but to call Kyle and inform him of the situation. Kyle arrived at the park in a frenzy, his face pale with fear and anger. The sight of Claire, distraught and helpless, did little to calm him. His emotions erupted, and he lashed out at her. "How could you be so irresponsible?" he shouted, his voice trembling with rage. "You were supposed to take care of him." Claire, already overwhelmed by guilt and fear, could barely respond. The weight of Kyle's accusations crushed her. She had sacrificed so much to be with him in Paris, leaving behind her own family and friends. Yet, in this moment, Kyle's empathy was nowhere to be found. He saw only a failure, not the woman who had given up everything to support him. As tensions flared, Summer arrived on the scene. Her protective instincts over Harrison, coupled with her animosity towards Claire, fueled her actions. She stormed over to Claire, her face a mask of fury. "You're so irresponsible." Summer spat, her voice dripping with disdain. Without warning, she slapped Claire hard across the face. The impact of Summer's slap left Claire stunned and devastated. Tears welled up in her eyes as the reality of her situation sank in. She knew she had made a terrible mistake, but the harshness of Kyle and Summer's reactions broke something inside her. The slap wasn't just a physical blow, it was a brutal awakening. Claire realized that in Kyle and Summer's eyes, she was nothing more than a caretaker, a paid help without any real connection to Harrison. Feeling utterly dejected, Claire stood in the park, the weight of her decisions bearing down on her. She had tried her best to integrate into Kyle's life, to care for Harrison as if he were her own. But the cold, hard truth was that she had no real authority or place in the boy's life. She was a temporary fixture, someone Kyle could replace at will. Meanwhile, the frantic search for Harrison continued. Kyle and Summer, fueled by their fear and anger, scoured the park, calling out his name. The tension between them and Claire hung heavy in the air, a stark reminder of the fragile nature of their relationships. As the sun began to set, a kind stranger approached with Harrison in tow. The boy, though shaken, was unharmed. Relief washed over Kyle and Summer, but the damage had been done. The day's events had exposed the cracks in their relationships, revealing the deep-seated issues that lay beneath the surface. Kyle, holding Harrison tightly, turned to Claire. His anger had not entirely subsided, but he could see the toll the day had taken on her. For a moment, there was a flicker of regret in his eyes. He realized that Claire, despite her mistake, had been under immense pressure. She had left her life behind to support him, only to be met with harsh criticism and blame. Summer, too, saw the pain in Claire's eyes. The slap she had delivered now seemed excessive, a moment of anger that had caused unnecessary harm. She stepped back, her own emotions conflicted. Claire, however, had reached a breaking point. The events of the day had shattered her illusions. She looked at Kyle, her voice trembling with emotion. "I've given up everything for you, Kyle. But I can't stay in a place where I'm constantly blamed and disrespected. I love Harrison, but I see now that my place in his life is not what I thought it was." With those words, Claire turned and walked away, leaving Kyle and Summer to contemplate the fallout of their actions. She needed time to reflect on her choices and to decide what was best for her own well-being. The path ahead was uncertain, but she knew she couldn't continue down the same road. For Kyle, the incident was a harsh reminder of the responsibilities he carried and the impact of his decisions on those around him. He realized he needed to reassess his approach to both his relationships and his life in Paris. Summer, too, had to confront her own behavior. Her protective instincts had led her to lash out, but she now saw the need for a more measured response.